to be able to read these. This cookie was still working on it. So thank you so much for making this for me, sending it my way. But seriously, I'm super excited about getting to Arizona. It's such a blessing, and hopefully we win the Super Bowl this year. Go Chiefs, and have a great rest of your day.
Board of Education. Thank you all for being here. Barb, would you call the roll?
Sure. Mr. Beveridge?
Here.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Connell?
Mr. Boyd is here via Zoom. I'm not sure if we can see him or not, but he's here.
Good. Mr. Kuhn?
Here.
Mrs. Steele?
Here.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Here. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
We have some pledge.
Yeah. I think we have some special guests coming up to lead us. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. That's you. Please place your right hand over your heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two. You may be seated.
Thank you for that. Dr. McMullen?
All right. Well, good evening, and thank you for attending tonight's Olathe Public Schools Board of Education meeting. Before we begin, we feel it is important that we review the importance of conducting a productive and orderly meeting. This meeting is designated for the board to work with the superintendent and staff to conduct the work as outlined in the agenda. Please understand that patrons attending the meeting do so solely in an observatory role. Out of respect for everyone in attendance, we request that audience members not speak, yell, or give applause during the meeting. This ensures the board, staff, and other attendees are able to listen and understand the business conducted. Anyone disrupting the meeting in any capacity will be asked to leave and may lose the opportunity to attend future meetings. Thank you again for attending, and we'll now proceed with the agenda.
Thank you. We'll move on to 2.01, agenda to adopt for April 6, 2023. I would seek a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Beveridge, a second by Mr. Kuhn.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carries 6-0. Moving on to recognitions and awards.
Good evening. I am excited tonight because we have a jam-packed slate of awards, so buckle up. And first, I would like to invite the following people up to join us. Heather Schoonover, Olathe Public Schools Director of Community Development. Mary Cobb, Olathe Junior Service League President. Terry Jarbo, Nancy Mooten, and Judy Bradford, Sustainers. And Lisa Gable and Sandy Keating, Community Organization Representatives for the Olathe School District. For more than 50 years, the Olathe Junior Service League has been a community service organization supporting youth and students in our school district. They focus on scholarships, service projects, and community grants. The nonprofit organization is committed to the improvement of our community through their effective volunteering and fundraising projects. Supporting our high school seniors, Olathe Junior Service League annually provides 3 $1,000 scholarships to Olathe graduates. The selection committee determines the winners with community service as the most important quality they are looking at from applicants. This ties with our district vision of preparing students for their future. One of the Junior Service League service projects is to support the Olathe Public Schools homeless outreach through the annual Back to School outreach. Junior Service League members raise funds to provide McKinney-Vento families with laundry products and cleaning supplies as they face residential transitions. The sustainers and members work together to support Olathe's unaccompanied homeless youth with a birthday gift and support throughout the school year. As the Adopt a School partner with Santa Fe Trail Middle School, the Olathe Junior Service League is meeting the need for personal care items to all Olathe students. The school hosts the Cyclone Clothing Closet. The committee provides staffing for the clothing closet at the middle school and designed a space with dignity for all district families to come. Junior Service League members work evening events and assist in sorting, hanging, and organizing clothing donations for our students and families in need. Each year, the Olathe Junior Service League Foundation donates proceeds from its annual fundraising to local charities. They have contributed $75,000 in the past 8 years to our community, including funds for unaccompanied homeless youth to get gas or food gift cards to support basic needs. We applaud the Olathe Junior Service League for their 50-plus year commitment to our district students, staff, and families. Thank you. I do think we have a couple of people in the audience. I know there's someone's.
There's going to be a lot of seats opening up as soon as it's
Alright, we're gonna get a picture of you guys. Attention. Yes.
turn sideways.
1, 2, and 3. Awesome.
Thank you, guys. Well, as they find their seats, I'd like to ask Heather Schoonover to remain up front with us for our next recognition. As I previously mentioned, Heather serves as the district's Director of Community Development. And tonight, we are pleased to celebrate Heather for receiving the Olathe Lions Club Milburn Ready Community Achievement Award to honor the important impact she has had within our school district and community. Heather joins a prestigious group of past recipients, including Mayor Mike Copeland, her father, Frank Devasell, and Craig Howard. At the recent awards ceremony, the Lions Club described Heather as, quote, the glue that holds our community together. And I couldn't agree more. Heather is a lifelong Olathan, a proud Olathe South graduate, and is dedicated to supporting the students and families in our community by connecting them to the incredible resources we have right here in Olathe during their times of greatest need. Anytime there's a need in our schools, Heather knows how to connect our students, staff, and families to the right resources. She is a humble servant leader, and I know if she were up here at the mic, she would say that this award is a reflection of the district, but I'm at the mic. And so I am so proud to recognize Heather for this achievement because it is such a well-deserved award. Congratulations, Heather.
This is for you all.
I told you.
Alright, smile. 1, 2, 3.
Next, I would like to invite Olathe East High School Choral Director Laura Clausen up to the front with her principal, Carrie Lane. The Kansas High School Student Athletics Association Student Advisory Team selected Laura for the 2022 Keisha Heart of the Arts Award. One of the many reasons that she was given this award is due to her adaptive music class with our center-based resource students. Olathe East Choir is dedicated to the development of the whole student, and Laura works hard to address the social and emotional needs of her students while producing incredible music. Dr. Mike Wolgast, athletic director at Olathe East, shared the following with us about Laura. He said, "Laura changes lives and is deserving of the Heart of the Arts Award. She pours her heart and her soul into her work, her students, and the Olathe East family." Congratulations, Laura. We are truly excited for your honor. And I don't know if we have family or friends in the audience, but if so, okay. And Carrie, you can stay up here actually, because we have another Olathe East Hawk up here that we would like to invite Stacy Goddard to join us at the front. So Stacy was announced as the Kansas Coach of the Year at the Kansas Debate Coaches Invitational. Stacy is the proud coach of the Olathe East Hawk Talkers debate and forensics team. This honor is in recognition of the outstanding work and support of Stacy's debate program and her students, but also for her and her team's positive impact on the competition as a whole. Stacy received this honor from a vote of her peers. When asked about Stacy, her administrator shared that Stacy is everything you look for in a coach and a leader in your building. Not only does she challenge and encourage students to excel in the area of speech and debate, but she also supports the student who is in their first experience with this program. All are welcome and all grow from being part of Hawk Talkers. Congratulations, Stacy. Okay. And now we would like to invite Mahi Coley of California Trail to come up to the front. Mahi has come to be a regular at these meetings. She's been to several this year. And you are welcome to come up too. Yes, please. So Mahi won the statewide Math Counts competition on March 6th at Washburn University in Topeka, and she will represent the state of Kansas in the national competition in Orlando, Florida this May. Three more students from different Kansas school districts will represent the state alongside Mahi. Math Counts is a nonprofit organization that reaches students in grades 6 through 8 in all U.S. states and territories. They have 3 extracurricular math programs with hundreds of thousands of students participating and using their resources each year. Every year, they hold 4 levels of competition: school, chapter, state, and national. Scholarships and prizes are given to the top individuals and top state teams. We are so excited for you to represent the state of Kansas, Mahi. Congratulations. And I think Mahi has family in the audience. If you want to come up, wave.
One, two, three.
At this time, we'd like to recognize Taylor Bussinger, social studies teacher at Prairie Trail Middle School, and Tanya Matthew, kindergarten teacher at Westview Elementary. And if your administrators are here, you're welcome to come up to the front. Taylor and Tanya were recently recognized as semifinalists for the Kansas Teacher of the Year Award. Taylor was the district's secondary nominee, and Tanya was the district's elementary level nominee. The award recognizes excellent teaching in the elementary and secondary classrooms of the state, and we are so proud to have these outstanding educators represent Olathe Public Schools. We are also excited to share that at the recent awards ceremony, Taylor was named as one of 2 Region 3 finalists for the 2024 Kansas Teacher of the Year Award, and will continue on in the competition that will name the final Kansas Teacher of the Year winner in September. Congratulations to Taylor and Tanya. We couldn't be prouder to have you representing Olathe schools.
Great. Good. Congrats. Yeah, congrats.
And finally, last but not least, I'd like to invite Sahari Rodriguez Cereceres and Cassandra Martinez to the front. And Eric and Jean, please feel free to come up as well. Sahari and Cassandra recently competed in the Casey BizFest competition. Casey BizFest offers high school students in the greater Kansas City metropolitan area an opportunity to learn a variety of life skills and business techniques. Students learn the art of networking in business environments and identifying investment opportunities, implementing money management skills, and making public presentations. By attending Casey BizFest, students gain entrepreneurial experience, economic literacy, improved skills in math, reading, writing, and verbal communication, while gaining workforce readiness when creating feasible business plans. The 20th Casey BizFest was hosted by the Casey Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and was held at the Kansas City Community College in February. Olathe had the most students from any Casey Metro district at BizFest, and a total of 48 students participated. Olathe had 12 students participate and all had 100% attendance throughout the 3 days, which makes them eligible for Casey BizFest scholarships at sponsoring area colleges. The final day consisted of students presenting to a judge in a preliminary round to determine 6 finalists. All 6 finalists receive an automatic scholarship that can be taken to any university of the student's choosing. Olathe had 2 representatives in the final 6, and you guessed it. They were Cassandra from Olathe Northwest, who placed 5th, and Sahari from Olathe North, who placed 2nd. Congratulations. We are so excited for you guys. And you have family in the audience as well. If you could stand and be recognized. Wonderful. Well, with that, that concludes our recognitions. Oh, just kidding. Thank you. That concludes our many recognitions for the.
All right, we'll continue to move on to presentations, and we'll start with something that we've all grown to love, the school spotlight. So Central Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brandy Leggett, and I'm the principal at Central Elementary School. And I also have Mrs. Croft, the 5th grade teacher at Central Elementary School that's going to help present, and then Aaliyah Leggett, Skylar Leggett, and Luke Croft. So one of our big things at Central is just empowering future leaders. We want them to be able to take like what they're learning and be able to take it beyond Central and just be able to apply those skills And so we have roughly around 215 students, give or take, 8 languages that are spoken at the school. And this board here represents like where everybody has come from our staff and the students. And so anytime we have someone that's new from a different country, they are really proud to be able to put it up on this interactive map to showcase what represents Central. One of our big things is building relationships and everything and getting to really know the students. So at the beginning of the year, we have a Passion Day, and we just ask the students what it is that they're passionate about. And so then they take and put together presentations of something that they're really focused on. And then their families come in, community members are invited in, and then they showcase through like using the iPads, either on PowerPoints, clips, different things and slides, and they're able to show us, and we're able to really get a chance to get to know the students better and what they're passionate about. And then also staff members also share what they're passionate about. On Fridays, we have High Five Fridays. And so it's just something simply where we have the pause, and the students really look forward to, just starting the Friday off like really strong. And we're high-fiving when they come to the school, when they leave. And it's just like, if we don't have it, they come in like looking like, where's the high five at? And so our I Am wall was put together by one of our 4th grade teachers, Nicole Nichols, and then some of our staff members that were the students. It takes up the wall outside of the cafeteria, and they're able to see like themselves. And so like some students start to stay there, start the day. If they're having trouble with something, we have them go out and pick up a word, and really where they can focus and say the word and see themselves in the mirror, and where they can really represent who they are.
Students also get an opportunity to do Cougar Dens. So teachers and staff members pick something that they're interested in, like soccer, student council, there's a fax den, dominoes, a wide variety. And then the kids at the beginning of the year get to pick out 5 of their top choices. And then they belong to a den for the entire year. And we meet on Fridays. And then dens are then grouped together into 4 squads, and they work towards earning tokens by following Central Cougar expectations and getting different awards and stuff. And then each quarter at our quarterly assembly, then the squad with the most tokens gets to go on a special field trip. And then teachers and staff members can highlight students for going above and beyond the Cougar expectations with Cougar shout outs, and they get a positive phone call home with Mrs. Leggett. And then, so I think it skipped. We also do Principal Prize Patrol. So we nominate students that are continually exceeding Cougar expectations, and Mrs. Leggett surprises them at their house with an award. And they also get a token for this book vending machine. And staff members also have a token every once in a while that they can give out. And then kids get to pick out a book.
This year, one of our new things is we have Oculus. So we have 20 Oculus, and they have things like Beat Saber on there. They have things for like SEL. We have pottery, we have where they can go to space and different things. And so there's different apps where the students are able to experience like they're actually there, like in person and everything. And so it's something that's really made like things like more reality for the students with the learning. And then we have College and Career Week. So one of the big focuses is the students having a chance to be just exposed to what opportunities are out there for them. So starting off in kindergarten, they go to West Dennis Learning Center. 1st grade goes to OATC. 2nd grade goes to Ottawa University. 3rd grade goes to Mid-America. 4th grade goes to KU. And then 5th grade goes to Johnson County Community College, and then goes to K-State. So coming up, actually the K-State trip is in May, and like the students there, one of the things that they really look forward to is we have a partnership with the football program, where they're able to like get behind the scenes and be able to go and look at like the different facilities. And this year they'll be able to check out the like new indoor facility. And it's something, if you ask the kids, what they really remember is they talk about like the dining hall. Like they're honestly, they're really happy when they can see like, so starting with Ottawa and up, they have a chance to eat there. And that's just something that's really good. That's so by the time they leave Central, and if they've been here through every year, that they know all the opportunities that are out there for them.
We also have an outdoor classroom that teachers can utilize for science, for math, and a wide variety of things.
And then one of the big things too is bringing like the community in and like the families being able to, with a lot of different nights that we have. And so like one of the nights we have is family game night. And it's just a time where they're able to come through and at the beginning they eat dinner. And then we have just board games. We have the Oculus. We have just a lot of games that they're just able to play with other children. Another is culture night. And so culture night actually links into our 4th and 5th grade music program. So they have the program and then they have like the food, art, clothing and everything. And it's really able to just celebrate like the diversity of the school, and people are able to learn about like the different cultures at Central. And then caroling in the community is something new that our music teacher started this year. And so every grade level went somewhere in the community and they walked, and families were able to come with us, and we were able to go through and just sing like different carols throughout the community. And so it's just really like anything that like we're fortunate at Central to be able to have like the downtown area and all the places close by. And so we just really want to have that tie where it's just like one community.
On Wednesdays, we feature Workout Wednesday, and so staff members can dress down, and it's a promotion of fitness in the classroom and movement. And so we do that every Workout Wednesday.
And then we have Community Service Day that's going to be coming up. And so like one of the big things is like wanted to have where every student to show like their leadership, that every grade level serves in some type of way. And so on the 24th of April, every grade level will be going from different places to, we have the Starfish Project. They went to Mission Southside last year. We have some going to parks. We have assisted living centers, and just a day where the students can go out and serve. Proficiency skills is something that we're really focused on, where we take like the standards and they're broken down to, so like level 3 is the grade level standards. And then that's where like all students are taught at level 3. And then beyond level 3 is level 4, where we're able to see like the students that need to be pushed like beyond the grade level. And then if they're struggling and at the grade level standard, then it's broken down to level 2, maybe different specific skills to be able to get them to level 3 or level 1. And so all the students know where they're at, and they're able to track where they are based on the standard. And then they also rate themselves on a 4, 3, 2, 1 of like a 4, I can teach somebody else. 3, I'm right there. And then 2, and then 1, I need some help. And so the students are always able to like track and be able to have the understanding of where they are to that standard.
Students also set goals in their classrooms. They set class goals, individual goals, and when goals are met, then you can see in the pictures there, we have a goal bell outside the office at the front of our school, and so they get to celebrate every time they meet their goal.
And one of the big things too is just taking the learning like beyond the classroom walls. So we always try to have like experts come to the school if possible, or we connect via Zoom. And we've had like from athletes to scientists or someone there with NASA, meteorologists or any way, so the students can really take like what they're learning or what their like dreams are and try to connect them with people like in the fields of what they want to do, and so that they can hear firsthand the experiences with that.
In the library, our librarian, Dana Walker, has 3D printers, STEM activities, Legos, robots that kids can work with. She started doing Genius Hour projects with 5th graders this year as well.
And then another thing is like just trying to provide whenever there's opportunity for the kids. So like recently, our entire school was able to go to like the women's Big 12 game, and just like the experience there for the kids. That was tied to literacy and fitness. So they had to read at least 12 books, and they had to have at least 12 hours of fitness. And so we were able to, every student, it was a big motivational factor. And so every student was able to come and see this women's Big 12 game.
Hi, my name is Aaliyah Luggett, and I'm a fourth grade at Central Elementary. What I like about Central is that my mom is the principal. Well, most of the time, unless I get in trouble, she finds out within like 5 seconds. How is that even possible? Some more things I like about Central is all the projects and all the teachers that are there to support us and the diversity. Thank you. Hi, my name is Skylar Luggett in third grade at Central Elementary. I really enjoy the field trips, all the different kind of clubs, like soccer club, flag football club, and everything like that. And I really enjoy how we learn stuff from the field trips and how the teachers and the students are really kind at Central Elementary.
Hi, my name is Luke Croft. I'm a kindergartner. The things that I like about Central are Cougar Dens, Buddies, Cougar Shoutouts, Cougar Squads.
And I've had the pleasure of working at Central for the last 9 years in 5th grade. I love working there because our staff is truly a family and we're committed to empowering our students. Mrs. Leggett instills in us a passion for leadership and innovation, and the sky is the limit for Central Elementary.
And last, we really want to thank Olathe Public Schools Foundation. They provide a lot of grants and assistance that's really helped us make a lot of things possible. One of our partners, College Church of the Nazarene, Grace Church, Olathe Campus, Junk Drawer, the Downtown Olathe Group, especially Bob and Lila Courtney, the Zeta Epsilon chapter, and Central PTO, and then also Olathe Public Schools. So thank you and everything for letting us showcase Central tonight.
Thank you for that. Any questions? I'm not seeing any, but
It's wonderful.
I was just curious which basketball game that was.
it's a great question.
If you need chaperones next year.
Thank you for your volunteerism, Mr. Kuhn. All right, moving on. Early childhood / Head Start. Invite Dr. Kim Hawkins and Kim Supt.
It'll be really hard to top that Central Elementary presentation, but this week, the National Association of the Education of Young Children has declared this week the Week of the Young Child. So what an appropriate time for Kim Sill and I to come share a little bit about our early childhood programs in Olathe. I'll give you a quick little overview of all the things we do for our families and children birth to age 5. We start prenatally sometimes with our Parents as Teachers program. We have 11 parent educators that are serving about 300 families, and they have a pretty extensive wait list too, so we're trying to work through KSDE and grants and things to be able to serve more families. But they're serving families through personal home visits, group connections, play groups, and then connecting families to resources. So if you're ever around Mill Creek Center on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday morning about 10 o'clock, you can enjoy, Dr. Yeager has enjoyed a Parents as Teachers play group. It's a pretty great time and a wonderful start for our families as they enter the Olathe Public Schools. Next, as our students turn 3, some of our families transition into our early childhood special education program. We're serving about 1,000 kids right now, ages 3 to 5, in our early childhood special education program on a wide continuum. Some students come to school for just early childhood speech services itinerantly. Others are part of our 29 early childhood special education classrooms, whether students with an individual education plan or typically developing what we call fee-based peer models. We also are home to a really awesome preschool for our students who are deaf and hard of hearing, and then some preschool classrooms for students with autism. So lots and lots of wonderful things happening for our kids ages 3 to 5. Specifically, we're also able to serve, on the board it says 4-year-old at risk, but this year we're also able to serve some 3-year-olds who have a risk factor. We serve about 200 students who meet at least one risk factor, which could be single parent, teen parent, parent didn't finish high school or get a GED, families on free lunch, a student who might be learning English as a second language. So wide variety of risk factors there that we're able to serve through. We have 5 preschool classrooms called Jumpstart, but then we're able to serve students in other classrooms as well who have a risk factor. And then last but not least, we serve 180 students through Olathe Head Start. And Kim Sill is going to tell you a lot about their program, but before she does, I need to brag a little bit. Recently, and you might have seen on social media, but the Kansas Head Start Association awarded 3 of our Olathe Head Start family with some special awards. So Kim Sill was actually named the Kansas Administrator of the Year for Kansas Head Start. We have a staff member, Sharon Green, who is Kim's administrative assistant, was named Support Staff of the Year for Kansas Head Start. And then super cool, we have a high school senior at Olathe West, Camilo Bustamante, who won the senior scholarship for the whole state of Kansas Head Start. So lots of celebrations and wonderful things happening there. So I'll let Kim tell you all about it. You're on?
You can switch for me. Right. Well, good evening. Thanks for having us tonight. We're really excited to be here and talk a little bit in person about Head Start. I know you all see us on the agenda, every month. So here we are in person to give you a little bit more information. So we are funded through a grant through the Health and Human Services Department. We have been in Olathe since 1965, since this was kind of just a little project that was put together to fight the war on poverty. And so I am super proud to stand here and say that the Olathe School District has supported vulnerable children and families for that long. It's amazing, and early childhood. So back in the day, we were here on the map. So I'm really excited about that. So it's a very long-standing program that Olathe has supported. And Kim mentioned we do serve 180 students. We're funded to serve that many students, so we have to stay there at that mark. We can't go over, even though we have a waiting list, and we need to fill it if we have somebody that leaves us throughout the year. We do have a service area that includes Olathe, DeSoto, Spring Hill, Blue Valley, and Gardner-Edgerton. So we serve all of Johnson County except for the Shawnee Mission School District. So that's a pretty big service area, but the bulk of our students do live here in Olathe, but we do have a handful of students in Gardner. Sometimes we get, and then we get some students from Blue Valley. All right, eligibility. Our program is based on serving children that have vulnerable at-risk criteria as well. The first thing is they need to be 3 or 4 years old and meet the federal poverty guidelines. So we do follow the federal poverty guidelines, which is lower than free and reduced lunch. So these are truly the most vulnerable children in our community. And then we also, just recently, we were able to serve children that receive public assistance that includes SNAP. So in the past, we've been able to do public assistance, but SNAP was never included in that. So that was just added recently. So that kind of broadens our area of students that we're able to try to recruit for our program. And then, of course, we are required to serve children who are identified with special needs. And so 10% of our population, which for us is 18 students at least, and we always go over that amount, especially by the end of the year, because that's part of our mission for Head Start is to identify students that have needs and to get them hooked up with services that Kim was talking about. The next slide is a little bit about our budget. And so we're a little bit over 1.7 million currently with our federal grant. And then we get a little bit of money through the same funding source for training and technical assistance. I have been here 24 years and it's stayed that same number. So that number has not gone up, but our 1.7 has gone up. So, and we will be getting some increases for next year as well for cost of living for our staff. And that I think is on your agenda for later to look at. So one of the other pieces that's unique for a Head Start program is that they have always intended Head Start to not be fully funded by the federal government. They want community support. So they put in there that we will get a 20% non-federal share match that we get through volunteers, we get through in-kind good donations, and we get a lot of our in-kind through the school district because the school district supports this program so well. Transportation, buildings, special services staff, secretaries, custodians. I could just go on and on. It's amazing the support that the Olathe School District has given this grant over the years. Early Learning Framework is just a little bit about our curriculum. We use a curriculum that's called Frog Street, and you can see this is a puppet in the picture of the little mascot that goes with our curriculum. And so her name is Fanny, and the kids love her. But in part of this curriculum, it divides our classrooms into interest areas. And so children are able to go and learn in different areas, dramatic play, the art area, building with blocks, manipulatives, all of those real base early learning skills that we want children to come into kindergarten with. So there's a huge piece on this curriculum that's with social emotional as well. And so conscious discipline is woven into this curriculum, and we're teaching children about managing their feelings and things that they can do to make themselves feel better when they feel angry. So learning to breathe and those kinds of things. Family engagement is another really big piece of our program. Head Start is way more than just the preschool classroom. We're comprehensive services, and the family is a big piece of this. We rely on families to be our partners, and we build relationships with our families to support their well-being. And really, the base roots for Head Start has always been to move families out of poverty and help them be self-sufficient. And so we do that in lots of ways with parenting classes and activities and teaching parents how to interact with their children appropriately and build those skills. And I've mentioned all throughout my presentation about the strong community support and the Olathe district being a huge support, but we do get lots of support from other places in the community. Johnson County Community College is a big partner. We have our student teachers come from there, and we've hired lots of our student teachers from there. We have volunteers from parents as teachers on our board. We have Johnson County Mental Health on our policy council board. We have a partnership with WIC, the health department, health partnership clinics, K-State Nutrition Center. We really reach out to the community to try to provide a rich environment for our children and families. And then also that helps us meet that non-federal share as well. There's some just cute pictures.
With that, Kim will take any questions.
Yes.
Questions?
So I may not have a question as such, but it's nice to see y'all in person. It's like I see you on Zoom with the camera. So I have the pleasure, Leetta a year ago asked me to step in a role she had, which was on the policy council with the Head Start group, and continue to be amazed and astonished at the work that you all do and the network through the community, but also working with the parents. Right? I mean, the policy council does not exist. We don't have a quorum unless the adults and the parents show up. And they're bright, smart, engaged, passionate, focused, ask a lot of questions, and they really represent all the other families across the folks. And so I want to make sure I shout out for you all for mentoring that, right? They really, the parents run the meeting, which is, if you've never been officially trained in how to run a meeting and the Roberts rules and all that kind of process, to watch them grow and by the springtime be running things and owning things. It's like, do we have a vote for this? Do we need to split this out? It's just really, really impressive. And that mentorship that you and the rest of the team do is really gratifying to watch and to see it happen, right? I always thought you guys would be running things, but it's really you all are there in support of what they're trying to accomplish for their children.
Yeah.
And I think that, and the partnerships, I want to call out the partnerships that you all develop to bring other people in, the skills. Every week there is a training, there's new information, there's always something to be learned. And that's pretty amazing as well. So I want to make sure I throw out and congratulate both of you. And Kim, congratulations on, Administrator of the Year. Woo, woo.
Thank you.
So that's really important that we celebrate those in our community that are from our community that have been involved. Now, for the record, neither of these ladies were here in 1965 when the program started. That's my job, make sure everyone recognizes they were not there when we started. I don't think all of y'all were even born back then. But the one thing I also wanted to call out is that I want to help give you a chance to kind of respond to it is, you said it, but a lot of people don't realize that while Olathe was a smaller town and Johnson County was in 1965, the explosive growth to 600,000 people, yet the number of spots that the federal government supplies and funds is still 180. The need in our community has exponentially exploded year over year, over decades, and it's still 180. So the need is there. And to Kim told Kim, that goes to that goes to sort of understanding and explaining the Jump Start model. And the parents and as teachers models is like, the need in our community is probably 4 or 5 times what any of these programs are probably fulfilling. And I just want to make sure that everybody recognizes that there are wait lists for just about everything. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And am I correct that when we talked about it, I asked you when I first got on, we have so many kids that want to be in, why don't we expand it? The budgets from the federal government are set, and Head Start is unique and separate from the school district. So people have to recognize that funding source, separate for Head Start. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think sometimes it's important, as I had to learn it, right? You all, in my onboarding, I was really excited to learn. But for the community to understand what you're working with, it's, you get a pot this big and you have to work miracles with it year over year. But you all are also really good. I want to congratulate the board and the district. Without the district's resources, without the school buildings, without the heating and the air conditioning and the security and the cleaning, that the Head Start program would not really exist. And I don't think a lot of people realize this covers families in Blue Valley. I mean, she said it, DeSoto. It's a big area that you're supporting that they wish you could do more. So for what you all do and what resources you have available to you, I'm really, really proud of y'all and the work that you all do. So I want to make sure I got that all on the record, because I tell you all that, but it's important for everybody else to hear that as well.
Thank you.
So I'm proud to be part of your team.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise. Others? Okay,
Thank you so
very
much.
much
Thank
for
you very
joining
much.
us this evening. Moving on to public comments. Mrs. Steele?
The Board of Education reserves limited time during its regular meetings for individuals to address the board. Individuals addressing the board should come to the podium at the front of the room when requested by the board president. When beginning your address to the board, we ask that you please share your name, the city where you live, and what schools your children attend or have attended in the district, if applicable. Tonight, we request that individual speakers limit their comments to, do you have a time for me? 3 minutes. A staff person will monitor the time and notify the speaker when the 3-minute time limit has expired. Please direct your comments to the entire board. If a response is appropriate, the president will respond to refer to another individual. We ask that speakers refrain from discussing complaints involving individual staff members or students if they have not been previously addressed to the district's administration. Out of respect for everyone in attendance, yelling, foul language, props, visuals, and addressing the audience are not permitted. In addition, audience members are not allowed to speak, yell, or give applause during public comments. This ensures the board is able to listen and then transition to the next speaker. Please note that those who disrupt the meeting in any capacity will be asked to leave and may lose the opportunity to attend future meetings.
Thank you. First up, we have Megan Bricks.
Good evening, Board of Education. My name is Megan Bricks, and I'm a proud elementary music teacher here in Olathe. Tonight, I want to speak to you about remaining focused on your mission to prepare students for their future. When we are putting students first, when we're making decisions, we know that we are making choices that will provide them with the best possible learning opportunities. We are currently in a period of time where tough decisions are having to be made based on what is happening in our educational world. As the school district makes these decisions, it is vital that you always put the students first and think about how each possible choice will impact students and their learning. As an educator in this district, it's extremely important to me that I put my students first in every decision that I make, both in my classroom and in my building. I truly hope that you continue to always have that in the forefront of your mind as we work towards the end of the school year. Another important topic that I want to discuss tonight is collaboration. It is vital that we as educators in the school district collaborate with our colleagues throughout our building, but also collaborate with our content area colleagues across the district. I truly want our school district to remain focused on collaboration. When we are able to have open communication and truly collaborate, we are able to support our students and continue to prepare them for their futures. I know that your job is not easy, especially right now, especially within the past couple of days. I truly want to thank you for pushing forward and continuing to serve our school district. Your hard work and hours that you spend reading through emails does not go unnoticed. I notice them, and I thank you. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you. Next, we have Karen Bishop.
Hello again. I am Karen Bishop. I'm the librarian at Mission Trail Middle School and mother of 3 wonderful, successful Olathe graduates from Fairview and Mission Trail, Olathe Northwest, and Olathe West. I would like to offer you a little reprieve tonight and invite you to witness something that is just my very favorite part of the year. This is students in love with reading great books. You're going to receive paper and electronic invitations in a little bit. With the details, but tonight I want to personally invite you to the Trail Challenge selection party. The Trail Challenge is a district-wide reading program. All 10 middle school libraries promote the same selection of 16 newly published books. We encourage students in our schools to read as many as they can. And then in March and April, all the libraries hold a bracket-style competition to find a district-wide winner. This week we're down to our Fab Four, not the Final Four, because that is a copyrighted term. Anyway, the races are tight. Next year will be the 6th year of this program, and we have expanded every year. We've looped the public library in. Not only do they promote the books in their spaces, but the last few years they've even brought in Trail Challenge authors to visit both in our schools and in their public spaces. We have an amazing library media specialist at California Trail who interacts with the authors via social media, and those authors list our school district on their awards and accolades. It's pretty cool to see. But definitely our favorite part of this program is the student engagement, and that's the part that you guys are invited to. On April 28th, 100 Olathe students from all 10 middle schools will descend upon the glorious IRC. They have already worked with library media specialists to compile candidates for the list, and on that day, they will narrow down to the final 16 books that will be part of the 2023-2024 Trail Challenge. We had to halt this gathering during the pandemic, and it really broke our hearts. But last year's event was so important for our library souls. The students just love being with like-minded peers. They love being surrounded by piles of really amazing books, and they loved being asked for their input. The end of the event, when we unveiled the 16 books, they cheered for every single title. It was really, really cool. The news right now is full of really disheartening attacks on books, on libraries, and on librarians. and these attacks skew people's understanding of what we do for our students. They also sit very heavily on our librarian hearts. So tonight, I invite you guys to come and see what we love about our job and what students love and the impact that we can have on them. It would mean really a lot for you wonderful, amazing Olathe dignitaries to be there, and we also have pizza.
Thank you. Next, we have Matthew Dinner.
Hello, guys. My name is Matthew Dinner. I have one daughter that goes to school at Frontier, got a son that goes to school at Brome, and have a 6-year-old that'll be going to Brome next year. I'd like to first of all tell you guys thank you for backing off on the start time in the Olathe district. That's the main reason why I wanted to come and talk to you today, because of my discomfort of the idea and where we were heading. As it doesn't really affect my family, there is families out there that it would affect. Parents that need a start time to, for work, single parents. When we make decisions like that in the future, we have to make sure that those people are not affected. And I greatly appreciate, and I thank you guys for backing off on that idea. I'd like to plant a seed, though, and suggest I come from a very small town in southeastern Kansas. Our pickup times were sometimes 6:30 in the morning. Our bus drivers would come and pick us up out in rural Kansas, out at a farmland. You know what? It worked fine for us, and our parents were still able to go to work. So if you have to start the buses earlier for pickup, great. That would be a lot better solution than starting later on a bell. The second thing I'd like to talk to you guys about, and it's mainly because my daughter is going into kindergarten roundup today. We were super excited. Obviously, we had all 3 kids now going to Brome. Love the teachers, love the community, love the schools, love the school district. What I am concerned about is the class sizes. Class sizes are starting to grow. My taxes are starting to go up, and we're not really filling as many school teachers out there. So as my tax dollars go up, school teachers aren't taking up as many spots, I guess, as being hired, and they have more students. Our teachers are already paid at a low amount. What I feel is fair. Well, the thing is if you keep on adding, like my son had 16 kids in his kindergarten class, my daughter now is going to have 23, 24, I think, somewhere right around there, and school hasn't even started. So you start looking at how the class sizes start to grow. My tax money is being taken out, and there's less teachers per kid. That concerns me with the future of how our kids are being taught. It doesn't concern me about the teachers themselves, because I absolutely love every single teacher I've ran into, talked to, and everything in this district. We have to make a plan and somehow get the right teachers in here to relieve some of that stress on those people that are taking up more of the job that they need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jenny Gilmore.
Jennifer Gilmore, proud Olathe alumni. Do you view parents as partners in this district? Do you find value in our input? Is the board aware that the district's best practice is that no 2 parents may meet with an administrator at the same time, and a parent may not invite a third party to a meeting with an administrator? I honestly don't know how that can border violating a parent's right potentially, maybe not accompanying a disability, and also be best practice. I would encourage this board to review this practice and establish policies to protect both the district and our parents and community partners. In order for us to move forward, we need to rebuild the trust that you lost during COVID. I remember when you told us that masks would be optional, but then as soon as we enrolled our kids, you did a complete bait and switch when school started. Tonight, you're delaying the bell schedule vote, but I have concerns of the delay. Leetta Felter made a comment during your special session asking why the board was having to select the new bell schedule. At first, I thought her comment was lighthearted, but something fell off after her resignation. I went back to the beginning under then President Joe Beveridge, that district staff asked the board for approval to go solicit proposals for student transportation. The proposal stated that the district would solicit from experienced and qualified vendors, and the objective of the district would be to select a contractor who will provide services at a high level with outstanding customer service, bringing the great efficiencies to the district and its patrons. At the time of this request, the district stated daily transportation was around 8,000 for general ed and 1,000 for sped. The district anticipated a new agreement July 1st of 2020. The district publishes an RFP for proposals. The following objectives: ability of the contractor to meet or exceed 100% driver fill rate. Each vendor was given 2 hours to present their formal proposal. Wycliffe and Beveridge both voted yay to the motion. A contract is approved and signed that states the district would alter the bell schedules so the transportation company can meet these objectives. While the district was well aware they were giving an outside contractor the upper hand to dictate the operations of this district, I don't believe the public understood. Nor did the district share this information during the recent presentations. So I'll ask this: why are you delaying the vote if you're contractually obligated in the first place? As a parent of small kids in this district, the proposed bell schedule was going to create multiple issues for my working family. But it sounds like that will happen regardless. So it really does feel like a lose-lose. Why were you transparent about the contract's due diligence clause in the first place? It sounds like this board approved the contract based on objectives that the other party falsely promised. I really do want to be a valued parent partner with this board, but the previous board's leadership's rubber stamping has consequences that continue to create issues. Parents need to know the truth in order to meet you halfway. I hope during tonight you can further explain why such information was withheld and present how the current board will become more transparent. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty Lanter.
Hi, I'm Patty. How are you? Okay, here we go. Just a little bit about buses. Things that were not stated that I didn't hear. About splitting the shifts was a possibility again that those elderly folk or retirees that might want to do half-time work, that's totally an option that should be pursued. And also the 21st century, if that is an actual issue, why not use like transfer buses? They can get on the middle school bus when it comes around first thing in the morning, ride to middle school, transfer from there with a whole bunch of the kids to go to their program. It would cut down on buses and drivers. It would take some programming and plotting, but that's totally doable in a planning system. Anyway, the idea here today is using words as manipulation tools. We've seen a lot of that lately again. Hearing mostly about parents being the problem with the schools. Sorry, thank you. Controlling language is an Orwellian tactic. Using positive words and flip the meaning. We've seen a lot of that with Castle as well. Equity being used in place of, or actually pretending equity is equality when it's really not. With a lot of politicization, we've heard that again yesterday with one of the main unions in the country, saying that parents are again the problem. Our own administration did the same thing recently in Topeka. When really, I think it's destroying itself from within, from the top down. If none of these things are happening, why is it a big problem when people draw attention to it? They are happening. They are there. Grades, kids get to college, they fall on their face because they've always gotten A's. They don't expect to fail as soon as they get there. Yeah, they do. Sorry. Sorry. How many pages here? Another thing we've heard about. This is not good. Sorry. I can't find my spot. Oh, in population growth, we are growing in population. So is Overland Park, Lenexa as well. The public schools continue to drop. It's death by 1,000 cuts, destroying from within. We're not making it up, changing the curriculum, keeping it behind closed doors, hoping that no one notices. Adding things into the psychology curriculum that shouldn't be there, hoping no one notices, actually CRT. Removing the classes or classics from high school reading, adding in inappropriate books also into the libraries with blatant graphic images and words, but it's not really happening. It's destruction from within, and if you can't see it, you're too close to the fire. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes public comments. We'll move to Section 6, action consent. As always, if there's something that anyone wants to pull out for discussion, we can, but otherwise I would seek a motion to approve items 6.01 through 6.11 as presented.
I move to approve consent agenda items numbered 601 to 611 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Steele, a second by Mr. Kuhn.
Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd?
Sorry, Brad.
I think that was a yes.
It feels like a yes.
Sound like yes.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. Moving on to Section 7, action bids, contracts, and agreements. Same message. If there's something that anyone would like pulled out to further discuss, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, I would seek a motion to approve.
Move to approve 7.01 through 7.06 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Beveridge, a second by Mrs. Steele.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 5-0. We're gonna take the next ones one by one. So student fees, miscellaneous charges, and facility rental for 2023-2024. If there are no questions, I'd seek a motion to approve.
Move to approve 8.01 as presented.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Beveridge, a second by Mrs. Steele.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
No.
Okay, motion carries 4-1. All right, schedule change, bus times, this has become informational. Dr. McMullen?
Yes.
Or
We're
Dr. Yeager,
we're both gonna take a part
Okay,
tonight.
fair
So
enough.
we wouldn't let Dr. McMullen get out of it totally free tonight. So
Sorry, Jim.
I'm just gonna recap a number of things, and there's a lot I don't want to miss, so I took some notes tonight. These are my own notes, not communications notes, so hopefully I can stick to them tonight. We had a really hard decision to make yesterday. As you know, we've been working on this for months and months in our system, and really at the end of the day, what it's about is trying to maintain opportunities and access for our kids across this school district. And the choice we had to make yesterday was a challenging choice. And I'm going to talk a little bit about next steps, but also want to share a little bit of a recap. Jim, over the last several months, the last couple of weeks, I've heard him say it a lot, but we've reviewed over 12,000 pieces of community data related to this. So comments, surveys, those kinds of pieces, thousands of pieces of data from our staff, ongoing feedback on the website and email. It's all been captured. It's all been analyzed backwards and forwards. And we have created over 25 potential schedules based on that feedback. And I will say that not all those schedules have been shared publicly because, as we took feedback from not organizations, groups or people, we would go, and Jim and Olivia would work really quickly and say, would this schedule work? And we would work with our partners at DS, and it would come back and say, it would work, you would just need 235 bus drivers, which is far more than we have right now. And so a number of schedules and ideas that were thought about were basically ruled out because it would make our current problem worse, not better. But we did look at all of those things and tried really hard to do that. 2 weeks ago, Dr. McMullen ran into my office one day and he's like, I have the perfect schedule. This is going to be great. I think it's going to make most people happy. 2 hours later, I got a text from him, said we're going to need 201 drivers to go to that schedule. So, there was a small celebration for a short amount of time. But the reality is that we know there's not a schedule that will work for our community. There's been a lot of conversations related to this about, hold the bus company responsible and hold them to their contract and those kinds of things. And I will tell you that, if it was as easy as just switching to a different bus provider, we would be doing that. There are things that are within our contract that would allow us to do that. But the reality is that DS is in this with us. The amount of money that they are bringing in as a result of their contract with us is several $100,000 less than it should have been. So they have skin in the game on this too, not just us as a school system. The labor market in our nation is real right now, and we can point to national statistics and news stories and things like that. But I got on our website today, our own website today. Today we have 264 positions that are open. That's the most that we've ever had at any one time as a public school district, our district, at least since I've worked here and probably since the beginning of time with our district. And that's also relative and representative of the labor market that we're in. I also want to talk explicitly about our contract with the bus company. We've provided it, as a result of several core requests. We have nothing to hide there. I wasn't the superintendent when that contract was put in place, but it's been reviewed by our outside legal counsel, by our inside legal counsel. And I could say that there's nothing in that contract that forces us to go to a 3-tiered system. The word 3 tiers are not in that bus contract. It talks about that the district and DS both recognize that the contract or the busing mechanisms we had in place as a school system were probably not the most efficient ways to maybe be doing it. And I will tell you, as we've studied it, and as Dr. McMullen has looked toward benchmark districts and other large districts in our state and around the country, it is very typical that school districts our size have a 3-tiered bus system just because it creates much more flexibility and efficiencies. And all that was before there was significant staffing challenges in front of us. There was also a recognition in that contract that some adjustments to the bell schedule would likely lead to cost savings and efficiency. Both the district and DS were both committed to talking about that. However, again, there was no requirement that we move to a 3-tier system within the contract. It also says that we also will pay for what we use. And when I described a second ago that, DS obviously has skin in the game because there's several $100,000 behind where they should have been if they were fulfilling, their part of the contract in terms of labor. But it also says that we'll continue to work together and that we'll negotiate in good faith. And I will tell you that that's been a large part of what Dr. McMullen and Mr. Hutchison and others have done this year is daily interactions with DS to work through this. I will tell you that DS is here tonight, and when we get to that point, they'd be happy to answer questions as well, to specifically talk about the staffing challenges and the things that they've done with that as well. In terms of next steps, Dr. McMullen tonight's going to walk through the list of interventions. And I wish I could tell you as a superintendent that these interventions are not going to impact our kids and our families. The reality is that we're in a place where we have to do something. I promise you that if we didn't have to be having this conversation right now today, we would not be having this conversation right now today because, the amount of consternation and stress that we feel as a team to try to figure out the right thing for our students and our community is real because we know that it's a hardship for everyone. So Dr. McMullen's going to talk through those interventions tonight, only one of which takes board action. And we're not going to ask you to take action around that tonight, but we'll talk through each of those things. And what I want to communicate to our community, and we'll continue to say this, is that we will communicate as quickly as we possibly can for the changes that will impact our students and our families next year. And we're going to try very hard over the summer to work with DS to hire every single bus driver we can and, take van loads of people to their office if we need to. We'll do whatever we need to help get that done. But at the end of the day, if it weren't DS, our partner would be someone with the same challenges trying to figure this out. So we're going to continue to work on that as much as we can. In terms of long-term steps, I will tell you that I don't think we're done talking about a three-tiered system. As a district our size continues to be efficient, continue to meet the needs of our community, it's going to be imperative that we continue to have the conversation. So over the next several weeks, Dr. McMullen, myself, others on our senior team, we'll be having conversations with the Board of Education about what are those things that we need to do to go back to make sure that we have a more inclusive community conversation about this, that we get in a place where our staff feels like their voices are also importantly heard. We're going to have to come back to this. And so, certainly we didn't feel comfortable making a recommendation for the 23-24 school year. We do believe we're going to continue to talk about this, though, and likely we'll have a recommendation for the 24-25 school year. We're going to continue, though, as I said, talking about that, figuring out what that is. And we're starting to work on some initial plans right now that we're looking forward to sharing with the board and our community, hopefully fairly quickly as well. Because at the end of the day, the solutions that we're proposing tonight are Band-Aid solutions, the ones that we're going to administratively put in place. And we need a long-term solution so we have predictable expectations for our kids in our community moving forward. So I will say that we feel really good about the work that's been done. It was a really hard decision yesterday as many of us gathered in my office and really, talked about the pros and the cons and what would happen and move forward. And at the end of the day, for us that decide to be educators and those that decide to be on a board of education, it's about our students and what's best for them. And that's going to continue to be our focus. The other thing, though, is what's best for our students feels a lot better if our staff and our communities behind it at the same time. But I will tell you that as we continue to have the conversation, looking forward, there is zero chance that we're going to come up with a solution that everyone's going to feel great about. It's going to be really hard for us to have a change like this that won't impact families and students and that kind of thing. So we're going to continue to give it our best shot. We're also going to continue to keep our students in the forefront of our minds as we work through these interventions for next year. But just know that we're likely going to come forward with a plan to continue the conversation for the 24-25 school year. So with my long pages of notes, Dr. Mack, you want to talk about the interventions that we're looking at and any information you want to share?
Yeah, you bet. Thank you. Just want to start before jump into this and thank a few people. Olivia Malone, our Director of Transportation, and her staff, Donna and Jenya and others, have just been extremely helpful to get this deep into the data while also doing their day job, which is getting all these kids to school and activities and everything else. And then what gets lost in this is DS bus lines, because every time we go with a new bell schedule, they have to build a mock routing system for that to determine the number of drivers and the number of routes and how much time we need between this level and that level. And so I know BJ Garcia and Rayed Kanda are here tonight, and I appreciate all the work that they and their staff have done over the last 4 months, because of those 25 options. Every time we do that, it is hours and hours on their part to see what's the data behind it. And I can't thank them enough. So, in terms of next steps at this point, without moving to a three-tier system, as we've been talking about for months, we'll continue to work on identifying which interventions we will put in place moving forward, and then any changes, the changes that we will make, we'll communicate that prior to bus registration so that our families know what's going to be there and what's not. Bus registration is set to open on May 8th, and so these interventions will be announced before then. Nothing on this screen is a surprise. These are the things we've been talking about for months here in terms of alternatives to a three-tier system. So first, we'll continue to look at or increase rolling blackouts.
Dr. McMullen, just a second.
Yeah.
We have to look here because what he's shown is not in the slide deck on our board. So do you all have what he's showing on the screen?
He just put the PowerPoint together
Okay, I
today,
just
so
want to make sure
you
that they all
probably
knew to
don't
look
have
behind
it.
them
Yeah.
if they couldn't see it. So I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Because we were everybody scrolling through the deck on our screen.
Oh, gotcha.
And it didn't have it, so I just want to make sure
Okay.
thank you.
You know, one thing about rolling blackouts is I've been asked, you know, can't you spread that around? The answer to that is yes and no. You can spread it around, but it can only affect those who are pay ride only routes. And so we have 23 of those routes that are solely pay ride only. You know, we have many routes that combine pay ride routes with the routes of students who live more than 2.5 miles away from school. So the kid that lives 2.2 at the high school level is a pay rider, and then the bus goes 2 more blocks into the neighborhood and picks up a student who is 2.5 and is a free rider. So we can't black out those routes because you can't black out any child that lives over 2.5 miles. So it's those same 23 routes that we're focusing on now.
And as a reminder, the statute says anybody that lives 2.5 miles or more away from school, we transport for free legally.
The second one, reduction and or elimination of safety variances in transportation. Again, these are routes that we provide that are not mandated due to the mileage. So again, it could be a high school or middle school route that the students live under 1.5 miles, don't qualify for pay ride, but there may be a busy road or a railroad tracks or whatever. We'll have to continue to look at those and see which of those may be eliminated. The reduction and or elimination of pay ride transportation services altogether. Again, I mentioned earlier, that's 23 routes. But as I've talked about in every presentation to date, that, you know, of those 23 routes, you know, 53% of those children are qualify for free and reduced lunch services. And so you're talking about some students and some families that really have some financial hardships getting to and from school. That is the one piece that if we look to change our pay ride policy would need board action. Currently, pay ridership for elementary school is students who live between 1 and 2.5 miles. And for secondary, middle school, and high school, it's students that live 1.5 to 2.5 miles. So we may look at bumping that out potentially to 1.5 for elementary and a 2.0 for secondary. We're going to explore basically everything. Adjustments to our 21st Century Academy transportation services. Again, something we've been doing for 20 years, and that's providing students from all over our district the opportunity to attend a 21st Century Academy, regardless of where they live. That could be an elimination, or that could be moving from free service to a pay ride service. We'll explore both. Bus stop consolidation. That's something where we'll just look for efficiencies in changing. Currently, all of our bus stops are within 0.25 miles of a student's home. We'll look at increasing that up to 0.5 miles, but that will all be within a current neighborhood of a child. So we wouldn't increase that and have it be across a major road. Further reductions in field trip availability. This one's tough. I mean, that's really one of the first things you address is those, and that could end up being a limited amount, more blackout days, X amount per school. Just not sure where that's going to land. It's going to depend on all the other data that we dissect. And then finally, you know, the byproduct is, and we've heard this a lot from high school staff, high school parents, high school kids, you know, our student athletes and activity trips have to get out of class so much earlier than when their contest begins, because those buses have to get back to run routes. And so that is not going to get better in terms of kids leaving high school at 1 o'clock for a 5 o'clock soccer game in Lawrence. So again, that will continue to be there. So we will get to work on that and be back with some recommendations. But would stand for any questions.
So real quick before we go to questions, I will say that, you know, as Jim mentioned, policy ED, I believe, is the one that has the student mileage from school piece in, so that's likely one we'd be bringing back to you next month. But outside of that, there's nothing that requires board action. Obviously, we'll keep the board very informed and communicate with you all in terms of our steps and what we're doing, and also our public as we do that. I would mention too, and it's easy for us, obviously, and most important for us to focus on the situation that we're currently in Olathe. You're going to see another school district in the metro area with very similar challenges that they'll be sharing at a board meeting next week, looking to make some tough decisions as well. They don't use the same bus provider that we do. There's other, districts that have already had to do some of these things as well. It doesn't help anything, though, in terms of us feeling better with where we are with this. But again, I would like to reiterate what Jim said. Thanks to Jim and Olivia and our entire transportation team for what's been a tireless project for quite some time, and what will likely continue to be a project for quite some time as well. But it's a reality of where we are right now.
Yeah, and I just want to echo that. Thank Dr. McMullen and team, everybody who has put in so much hard work in this. These are not easy problems to solve, but have full faith that we'll figure it out. We'll get there. With that, I guess I'd open it up to any board member questions or comments.
I've got a couple comments and questions. So the first thing is, I want to recognize that all the work that you have done doesn't just go away. No. It's really a starting point. And so that's a huge advantage, because so many scenarios have been identified, crossed off, reworked. I mean, just since the last board meeting, I've seen 11 new proposed routes. And to the credit of teachers in the community, they're asking questions. I mean, hundreds of emails, and I have 3 emails I have not responded to yet, but I've tried to respond to all of those, asking questions that we can't possibly have all thought about ourselves. But to your credit and your team, when we forwarded them, you said, well, okay, let's think about this differently, right? But I'm also, I had shared several weeks ago that I was probably going to be an abstention or a no on whatever came in front of us for a couple of reasons. I just want to be open and honest. What I've shared with Dr. Yeager, and he's probably shared with you, is that I didn't feel like if we made a decision today, that was enough time for us to properly plan, and us meaning kids, extra, all the teams in their communities, the schools, JCPRD, enough time to process what was happening, enough time for the families to adjust, and enough time for our teachers, right? Just knowing that we all got a bunch of emails yesterday after, was it yesterday or the day before, when the schedule went live, when the teachers were presented with, this is real, right? And then they were starting to question, what do I do with my elementary kids if I'm a middle school teacher and I'm working these different hours? The reality is, Mr. Yeager, Dr. Yeager is absolutely correct. You're correct. Something's going to change. And if we're in the process of getting to those changes and we're talking about 24, 25, there's going to be Band-Aid pain in the meantime. But we can't stay this schedule. I want to say it for the record, is while I wasn't in favor of making a decision right now, something's going to change. But I have said openly in our workshop that we had and all throughout the time is that I do believe we need more engagement, right? And this reprieve, and that's all it is. This is not an end, it's a reprieve while we get to talk about the Band-Aids that happen by May 8th and for the next year, is that it gives us a chance to really synthesize all those communications and recreate a new questions conversation, and then engage our teachers and our staff and our community. Because I truly believe that most of them, that like the teachers I've met have said, look, just tell us what we have and give us enough time to figure it out. That's what teachers do every day in the classroom. With given the information, what do they figure out, right? And I think the same thing would be true for the parents, is that, okay, I have to find new childcare. I have to do this, right? So I'd like us not to be next spring making this conversation for next year. Does that make sense? I'd like us to continue the conversations. I'd like us to continue to invite the community in and say, here's what we're hearing, what we need, working with DS. But yes, I've read the contract, and it was signed in 2020. And just for the record for everyone is, we all know what happened a couple months into 2020 is that nobody was in school. And so it was kind of an odd time to be working on that. With all that said, I'm glad that you made the decision. I think there was a general sigh of rushing to something too soon. And that's my fear more than often than not, is that I am focused on the kids first and then parents and the teachers that are related to them. So my fear was we were running to a decision that could have unintended consequences that we weren't aware of. But now we have time to kind of look at the what ifs, right? What if? And so that we can pivot really, really well. So I have confidence we're going to get an answer. It still might be the answer that was probably going to be presented today, right? I mean, just on the record. It still might be the same one, but we will feel stronger. I will feel better, right? All the emails and the calls and the people we're talking to. Today I was at a track meet at Pioneer Trail and people said, 2 paras. Thank you for not doing something we don't have time to figure out what to do with our kids. So I'm just kind of on the record for that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and to clarify, while we continue to get feedback, we sought out a lot of feedback and got a lot of feedback during the process. So I just want to be on the record for that. Other questions?
And
comments?
so for the record, we did get a lot of data, but we didn't see the synthesized data and all those questions and all the answers there. And we did have a small group of adults representing the community on your advisory group. But that wasn't 29,000 kids, 4,800 staff, and 75,000 families that have kids in 2 different school groups. And that's what I want to be able to say, that have you all been heard, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Others?
I just have a couple comments, no questions for you, Dr. McMullen, but just want to say that, I do support Dr. Yeager and our senior leadership team deciding to push pause on this. I differ from Mr. Conlon that I'm not glad about it. I'm very concerned. And, our community spoke back to us, educators and parents let us know that you're not ready collectively to support a change like this at this time. And in my opinion, leadership is about knowing when to push the gas and when to coast and when to stop. And that's what I've seen our leadership team here in the district do very well. And that comes with humble leadership. And I'm very thankful that that's who we have driving us forward. But I 2 things can be true at the same time. I support you. I think that was the right thing to do. And I'm slightly devastated for our kids who potentially are going to pay the price for that decision. And they're the very kids who aren't represented by parents in this room tonight. And that is why we're here, is to look out for all kids, and specifically those kids who need us the most. And so I think this next year is going to be super challenging, and I believe that our staff is amazing and can create magic for our students. But I also know the commitment that is long held in this district to provide equitable educational opportunities for all students. And we just made this harder on those students. You laid it out really well, but I just it's worth saying again, extending rolling blackouts. Maybe not just changing pay rider, but eliminating pay rider, of which over 40% of our kids are on free and reduced lunch. Those kids need us. They need us to figure this out as a community. Guaranteed reduction in field education opportunities, field trips. What did we just hear Ms. Leggett say? She starts in kindergarten with these kids going to colleges and universities. That's a beautiful thing because they start to see themselves that could be them. And we just made that harder. We just made that vision and that tradition at Central Elementary School, where those kids need us the most, we made that harder by not figuring this out. The safety variance, I know we'll do what's right for kids because that's the staff we have in this district, but we just made that a lot harder. So yeah, we kicked the can. I support it. I think it's right. I think we all as a community need to think about what can we do differently as educators, as senior leadership, as parents coming together to solve this problem so that no kids in our district are paying for it. I will forever champion educational opportunities for all our kids, regardless of what they bring to the table or don't bring to the table in the way of a ride to get there. And this next year, I'll be particularly astute about that. I care about those kids. They need us the most. And you have my support in pushing pause. I know we'll figure this out. That's what we do in Olathe. We figure things out. But I also know when we circle back, we all have a responsibility to maybe be a little more committed and solve the problem, because we're gonna have to.
Others? All right.
May I add
Thank
one
you,
last
Shane.
thing? I just wanted to, you asked, so.
I did.
So I appreciate what Ms. Steele just said, but I want to reassure you, all of your children are represented on this board. Wealthy or poor, black, white, Asian, doesn't really matter. School teachers' kids, single parents, special ed kids, all of our children, we represent them all. And all of your emails and all of your communications are being read. They are being listened to. So we're just not ready. As Dr. Yeager said, I totally support that he said the community is not ready. I'm a big proponent of making hard decisions when it's the right time. We don't have enough information to make that right decision. I am confident that we'll make the right decision when it's the right time. So I want to make sure I say that for all of y'all. Does this make it harder for some? Yes. Will it be harder for many, no matter what we do? Yes. But that's our job when we have enough information, enough feedback. I just want to make sure that we have everything we can do. So,
Thank you. Moving on, can we move on? Just making sure. Going once, going twice.
yes, Mr. McCliff, you may move on. Thank you.
I know. 8.03, board vacancy. I just want to talk about this a little bit. A couple of us, Mr. Beveridge and I, have actually gone through this process before, as many of you know. Mrs. Felter made the decision to resign her board post. So I just want to give a quick timeline on what that's going to look like, because we do need to actually take action. It's perfunctory, but we do need to do that. So on March 24th, Mrs. Felter tendered her resignation. Tonight, we will, I assume, pass a resolution to post and appoint. Honestly, we don't really have a whole lot of leeway there. We kind of have to, based on Kansas statute. So tomorrow, a posting will be created and shared on our website in Kansas Star per statute. So that will open the application. By statute, it needs to be open for 15 days. So that will go through April 24th. They are due to our awesome board clerk by 10 a.m. on April 24th with proof of residency, and they should be hand delivered. Sometime between the 24th and May 3rd, we're still trying to figure out dates. We'll have a special Board of Education meeting for interviews. Questions will be shared in advance with all of the applicants to make sure that they can prepare. The meeting is an open public meeting. And as I said, we're working on those times right now. The decision of who to appoint should be made at that meeting. May 4th, if everything goes well, as we hope that it will and expect that it will, the new Board of Education member will be able to take the oath at our May meeting. I can read the language of the vacancy resolution. Whereas a vacancy exists in the membership of the Board of Unified School District 233, Johnson County, Kansas, and whereas KSA 25-2022 authorizes a Board of Education to fill such vacancies no sooner than 15 days following publication of notice in a newspaper having general circulation in the school district, be it resolved that the clerk of the Board of Education of Unified School District number 233 Johnson County, Kansas, shall cause such notice to be published in the Kansas City Star newspaper.
So
If there are
moved.
no, oh, go ahead.
I said so moved.
Yeah, awesome. I love that.
Second.
Sweet. Got a motion by Mrs. Steele, a second by Mr. Beveridge.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Moving on, future.
Mr. Wycliffe, President Wycliffe, may I add some commentary, please? May I
If you'd
ask,
like.
and ask some questions to be on the record? So, the app, I just want to ask questions because I have not seen it. The information will be posted, will identify the zone within the school district as appropriately and provide a graphical map that shows what boundaries affect the address that the individual must reside in as their primary residence at this time. Is that correct?
I believe that was already shared, right? Yeah, the map's already on the website.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why we're having it all go to Barb is she can also work with Chris Crowell if anybody has address verification needs, that kind of thing. If they're unsure, we're happy to check.
Well, on the website, I just want to make sure it's in the board meeting as well, and that the meeting that we're looking to have between the 24th and May 3rd would be a public meeting,
It is,
a formal meeting of the board,
has to be.
where public can come and watch and hear as well, and the individuals will be subjected to a bi-directional conversation where some of us will ask questions and they will respond. Is that correct?
Yeah, pre-selected questions, correct.
And all of those individuals will have access to those questions ahead of time so that any question any one of us may ask, they've all been aware of how to respond personally, right?
That was one of the things that I put out there, yes. So, correct.
Just making sure I didn't hear that, but I want to make sure. We've seen it on the website, and I've seen it through the email from Dr. Yeager. I just want to make sure it was really, really clear.
You were clear.
Thank you.
Moving on, future action items. We've got quite a few here. I'm going to give you my normal spiel. If you've got questions, please submit them to Dr. Yeager in advance so that we can get you answers to those. Hope you've all had an opportunity to look at the written information.
Mr. Wycliffe, sorry to interrupt.
Absolutely.
Can I mention just 9.29 is a policy update, board policy update regarding our evaluation from last year. So
Sure.
just a special note to look at that before next meeting.
Yeah, and I know that,
Sorry to interrupt, but
no, absolutely. I know that you and Mrs. Steele and Mr. Kuhn have been working through some of that, so I appreciate your time on that.
So
Should we go to information written?
may I
Hopefully,
add commentary on the future items?
if you'd like.
Okay, please.
Sure.
Sure. In last month's board meeting, I brought up a conversation around introduction to psychology that was posted as a future item in January. And in January, despite the communication to me on the dais last time, I had in advance communicated my request to get information in writing. I want to be on the record because a lot of people said, you suck as a board member. And I posted that. I talked to Dr. Yeager about it. And I want to be very sure that the public knows I did. And I did learn from last year when I was bringing this stuff home. So I did ask for that information, was not provided said information. Could have been an overlook or a mistake that I didn't get it. But I want to be on the record that, yes, I follow the rules and I read that stuff and I do. And I have supplied a lot of questions already ahead of for next board meeting. But I just want to be on the record that there was a jump in if you want to watch the recording. You need to do this ahead of time. You need to send that to Mr. Yeager ahead of time. We need to have this before we ever go to the board meeting. I did. So I just want to make sure I get that on the record that I do.
Noted. And if you have issues, please don't hesitate to bring those up to me. Moving along.
Mr. Wycliffe, I have recorded emails to you and not received any emails from you in response since December of 2022. I would love to have conversations or meet with you. Thank you.
Hopefully everybody had a chance to look at the written information reports. Topics for discussion. I'll open it to the board.
I was just going to throw out a big congratulations to the Public School Foundation for their Taste of the Town. I think their goal was $250,000 for mental health for our students, and they raised over $300,000. So thanks to, I mean, there's so many people to thank, but Cindy on top at the Public School Foundation, thanks so much for her effort and all the people on the board for a tremendous event.
For sure. Well said. Others?
Excuse me. I had the opportunity yesterday to attend the Quest Olympics over at, where was that, Olathe West. It was exciting to watch all the kids out there and see them competing and showing off all their skills. And I was not the smartest person on any of those games, so.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Robbie. I'm going to add in, is like a bunch of us did. They did the morning shift, I did the afternoon shift, so I got to be there when they did the bling bling. And believe me, some of those kids walked out sounding like Santa Claus with all the metal around them. But it's important. And so I talked to some of the teachers. I want to thank all of our Quest teachers who put so much time into those kids. The program grew by double from a year ago. I think this is the second year. The goal is to double again next year in the volume of kids that are involved. If your kids are in the gifted program, you should be really, really proud of those that are leading them. But I also want to shout out to the students who came from the other high schools and from Olathe West, the high school kids who ran a lot of that events and who were there. And I watched some incredible high school kids recognize that they too were once in those shoes of a 12-year-old that was smart and talented, but may not have had someone pat them on the back and say, "You are awesome," because not all those kids got medals. And I watched one cry, and I watched a high school student walk up, put her arm around this child and say, "You are where you're supposed to be, and next year you're gonna kill it, and you were wonderful. I saw you." There were just 8th graders, and you're a 6th grader. There are 8th graders that were just a little ahead of you. And I was really, really impressed with the students who step into those roles to be mentors for those other kids. And they gave a lot of, unless some of these kids were, way smarter than us. Talking competition, it is spring sports season. And, well, the weather's good. Get out and watch the track programs. Watch the spring programs. I was at Pioneer Trail earlier today, and there couldn't have been a parking spot within 6 blocks of the school. And that was just Santa Fe and Pioneer Trail families. They were everywhere. The weather was nice. But the kids were having fun. The coaches and adults that give all their extra time to help them run those, take the time. Stop by a school where you see a track meet, Frontier Trail or any of the schools. Pretty amazing. And while I was there, so I told one of the moms that I'd make a shout out. So I watched a kid, amazing athlete, and I went up and introduced myself. And turns out his mom was a para at Rolling Ridge. And I was really, really excited to talk to her because she is taking advantage of our Grow Our Own. And she told me, "I have to quit my job." I was like, "Why?" She goes, "Well, because I start student teaching in the fall to be a teacher in Olathe." And I said, "That's great." And she said, "And I want to be a special education, special needs teacher." And that just, those times when we're in the schools and you run into the child who is a spectacular athlete, but then you meet the parents and you find out that they love our schools and they want to give back. And I just want to make sure I let you all know that the Grow Their Own program, finding our paras, supporting them, helping them with their education, getting them to be teachers, and where she said, "I want to come back and teach at Rolling Ridge," was something. And so for the folks at Rolling Ridge, I want to make sure I do a big shout out, because I won't call her by name, but I was like, you stumble into people and you have incredible stories. And I always want to remind that our paras, we need more of them. And our teachers are really, really amazing people that care and love your kids. So thank you.
Dr. Yeager, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, I'm going to do this a little differently tonight. I actually have some pictures tonight. I'd like to show you all my recent trip to Branson. Just kidding. Nobody thought that was fun. Actually, what I want to show you is just some really cool things happening around our district. And usually I talk about things, but I thought tonight I would show you some things. So we had our 4th grade, what do we call it? Thank you, such a good team over here. Careers on Wheels event this week, and such a cool thing that Alicia Jackson and many others in our learning services team work on. But this picture is really special. Travis and his team found out just a few days ago that there was a kiddo in a wheelchair who was going to be going on a field trip to Careers on Wheels. And when ODAC and CBAC were built, there was large medians and there weren't cut-throughs for wheelchairs. And so Travis and his team worked really quickly and had some cut-throughs put in those medians. So our student in the wheelchair didn't have to go all the way around and be separated from classmates and things long. And I just thought it was a beautiful story of people who are really, really busy stepping in immediately and doing what's best for a kiddo. So I just wanted to share that. I was at PRT last week, and our teachers all absolutely recognize the benefit of building relationships with kids. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And Mr. Tony Weber, who's a 7th grade math teacher there, was out in the hallway greeting his kids, welcoming them. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to class. Really, really feels great to kids. But I said, what are you doing? And I got up there close, and it says this or that, and the choice was mountain or beach. And so I said, oh, mountains for sure. So he put my tally mark with the mountains. But he does that every single day, and he asks a question every single day of his kids as they walk in that's a this or that question. And I said to him, I said, tell me about that. And he said, they get so mad when I don't do it. So he has to think of it every day. But, I think it just exemplifies the kind of educators that we have in our district, who literally just takes him 2 minutes a day, but such a powerful way to connect with kids just as they walk in the door each and every day. So I just thought that was so cool. And, he smiled like that the whole time I was there. And I can't imagine walking into his classroom and not feeling great about the way I was starting the day as a kiddo. You also know, because you've all talked about it, that we had the Taste of the Town last weekend. Obviously a tremendous event in supporting our school district. She's going to kill me, but you see Mrs. Beam standing up in that picture. And that's when she was playing Heads and Tails. Paul, who's Barb's husband, who's probably watching, is probably angry at me right now too. I'm sorry, Paul. So that was a really enjoyable picture that Cindy Von Felt sent me of Barb, and so many people in our district and our community. They're having a great time. But I really zoomed in on this image as part of the presentation. Just in case you weren't sure if the food was good there or not, Officer Cox did enjoy it very much. And I think you gave it 5 stars that night. Is that correct? Yeah, 5-star meal. So we were really excited about that. I knew we were going to have a serious board meeting tonight. I couldn't help it. I'm sorry, my friends. But overall, as Mr. Beveridge said, they raised almost $310,000. And, there's not too many communities that could come together to support students and staff with the organization like we have in OPSF. And we're just so blessed for them to be in our community, and that our community at every turn supports the mental health of our students and our foundation in so many ways. We heard Brandy, our principal at Central tonight, talk about how important the foundation has been for providing opportunities for students there. So a tremendous celebration there. We've talked about Paris quite a bit tonight, but last week was our Para Appreciation Week. I was at Olathe South last week and saw this big banner hanging in the Commons area. But we are so grateful for our paras and the work that they do each and every day in our schools to meet the needs of our students with special needs. But the reality is, not only do they support our students with special needs, but they're adult presence in the building who care about all kids and those kinds of things. So I wouldn't let this opportunity go by without celebrating them. This one has also been mentioned. This was my visit to the Quest Olympics yesterday. I put this picture on here because I thought I looked kind of skinny in this picture, which was fun. But the reality is that we had, as Mr. Connell and Mr. Kuhn so well expressed, we had students there yesterday who are just doing an amazing thing. But one of the things I love is the mentorship of our other older kids, but also the connection kids are making to kids at other schools. Quest kids connect with each other pretty quickly, and it was really obvious yesterday, but a tremendous amount of work on the part of many staff members, and it was a true celebration just to be there and see all the really cool things that were happening. This picture is not nearly as exciting as the other ones. There is no heads or tail competition in this picture, but this was a picture of our administrative staff meeting that we had earlier this week. We bring our administrators from across the system and across the departments and schools together once a month, and we talk about the focus areas for the district, our strategic plan, our expectations. But one of the things that we talked about at this meeting this week is we spent dedicated time talking about what it means to finish strong for our students, for our staff, and also for each other. And our administrators just did a terrific job of having that conversation, obviously with students most importantly, first and foremost, being at the center of that conversation, but also how do we really take care of our staff so they can take great care of our students, and how do they take care of each other. It's no secret to anybody that this time of year is a lot of long hours for our administrators with activities and end of the year functions and graduation and all those kinds of things. So I so appreciate that team. I asked Becky today for a picture of some cute kids, and this is what she sent me, and it's great. It's a fantastic picture. But I think the reminder here is that, and so many of you represented this so well in your comments tonight as board members, but each day this is what it's all about. I sometimes am in my office in this 2-story office building and think to myself, I did not get into education to sit in an office building. And I think for those of us that kind of do the business of education, it's really important for us to just remember that that's why we're all here each and every day. And I appreciated so many of your comments tonight that referenced that. And then I'd be remiss in the April board meeting not just to put a little shout out to graduation on there. All of our high schools are gearing up massively right now for what will be a tremendous graduation celebration for our students, our seniors next month. And I will tell you that, our high schools, one of the things we're doing is certainly helping kids who have achieved that goal get there, but also they have a short list of kids who are really close to potentially not achieving that goal. And there's a lot of time and effort spent on supporting kiddos in that situation right now this time of year too. So just thought I'd share some pictures tonight instead of my regular thing. So that concludes my comments.
Love it. Thank you. We need 2 executive sessions. First one, I think we need 10 minutes. Is that right?
Yes. No, 20.
I move that the board go.
Nope, 10, I think.
Yeah, they were backwards.
Do you want to flip them? Do the 20 first?
Let's do the 20 first. Let's do 3.03 first.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I move that the board go into executive session for the purpose of discussing consultation with an attorney for the body or agency pursuant to the exception for matters which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship under COMA, and that the board return to regular meeting at 8:02. That'd be a long one. Rob had me here. You're not staying till 9?
No.
Till 8:02 in this room.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Steele, a second by Mr. Kuhn.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Beveridge?
Yes.
Mr. Kuhn?
Yes.
Mr. Connell?
Yes.
Mrs. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Wycliffe?
Yes. All right, motion carries 5-0.
Barb, all the computers.
Linnet, Linnet.
Kids get golden tokens for following our 4 Bs of be safe, be kind, be helpful, and be the best you. And this is our PBIS initiative that we're doing, and really focusing on building wide expectations, but also creating a love of literacy. Does anybody in our building have 3 tokens to give out until the end of the year? We just started 2 days ago, and so we've already given out 5, and so we're really excited.
So the students have the ownership in choosing the books, and we have like a great partnership with Junk Drawer that actually provides the books for us. And so the students get, you know, it's not something like you have to read this book, you have to do certain types. Like, since they have so much ownership in choosing it, that they love getting it and that they get to own like the book.
As soon as it was installed, it was great to see. I mean, every time we walk by, they notice the new book and they're all excited. And you know, not all of them have an opportunity to bring brand new books home. We have a wonderful library here, but this one they get to keep. And it's wonderful how excited they get for each other because they know how exciting it is to bring a brand new book home.
Hey, what's going on, Madison Place Elementary School? It's Noah Gray here. Thank you guys so much for your overwhelming support of my teammates and I as we're about to head out to Arizona to play the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. It's really encouraging to know that I have such amazing friends who care so much about me. This support is just such a blessing, and I'm just so grateful to be able to read these. This cookie was absolutely phenomenal. I'm still working on it. So thank you so much for making this for me, sending it my way. But seriously, I'm super excited about getting to Arizona. Such a blessing, and hopefully we win the Super Bowl this year. Go Chiefs, and have a great rest of your day.
Linen. L-I-N-N-E-T. Linen.
Kids get golden tokens for following our 4 Bs of be safe, be kind, be helpful, and be the best you. And this is our PBIS initiative that we're doing, and really focusing on building wide expectations, but also creating a love of literacy. Does anybody in our building have 3 tokens to give out until the end of the year? We just started 2 days ago, and so we've already given out 5, and so we're really excited.
So the students have the ownership in choosing the books, and we have like a great partnership with Junk Drawer that actually provides the books for us. And so the students get, you know, it's not something like you have to read this book, you have to do certain types, like since they have so much ownership in choosing it, that they love getting it and that they get to own like the book.
As soon as it was installed, it was great to see, I mean, every time we walk by, they notice the new book and they're all excited. And not all of them have an opportunity to bring brand new books home. We have a wonderful library here, but this one they get to keep. And it's wonderful how excited they get for each other because they know how exciting it is to bring a brand new book home.
Of discussing matters related to employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representative or representatives of the body or agency, and that board meeting, and the board returned to the regular meeting at 8:10. And Julie disagrees.
She's writing a letter when you read her name.
Hey, what's going on? Madison Place Elementary School. It's no great here. Thank you guys so much for your overwhelming support of my teammates and I as we're about to head out to Arizona to play the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. It's really encouraging to know that I have such amazing friends who care so much about me. This support is just such a blessing, and I'm just so grateful to be able to read these. This cookie was absolutely phenomenal. I'm still working on it. So thank you so much for making this for me, sending it my way. But seriously, I'm super excited about getting to Arizona. It's such a blessing, and hopefully we win the Super Bowl this year. Go Chiefs, and have a great rest of your day.
Linen. L-I-N-N-E-T. Linen.
Kids get golden tokens for following our 4 Bs of be safe, be kind, be helpful, and be the best you. And this is our PBIS initiative that we're doing, and really focusing on building wide expectations, but also creating a love of literacy. Does anybody in our building have 3 tokens to give out until the end of the year? We just started 2 days ago, and so we've already given out 5, and so we're really excited.
So the students have the ownership in choosing the books, and we have like a great partnership with Junk Drawer that actually provides the books for us. And so the students get, you know, it's not something like you have to read this book, you have to do certain types, like since they have so much ownership in choosing it, that they love getting it and that they get their own, like the book.
As soon as it was installed, it was great to see, I mean, every time we walked by, they notice the new book and they're all excited. And you know, not all of them have an opportunity to bring brand new books home. We have a wonderful library here, but this one they get to keep. And it's wonderful how excited they get for each other because they know how exciting it is to bring a brand new book home.
Hey, what's going on, Madison Place Elementary School? It's no great here. Thank you guys so much for your overwhelming support of my teammates and I as we're about to head out to Arizona to play the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. It's really encouraging to know that I have such amazing friends who care so much about me. This support is just such a blessing, and I'm just so grateful to be able to read these. This cookie was absolutely phenomenal. I'm still working on it. So thank you so much for making this for me, sending it my way. But seriously, I'm super excited about getting to Arizona. It's such a blessing, and hopefully we win the Super Bowl this year. Go Chiefs, and have a great rest of your day.
Linen. L-I-N-N-E-T. Linen.
It's a good thing we don't think we need you.
We're adjourned. Hey, Brian. You had 4 months to point out that I missed an email, and you chose to do it in public. You know how to get a hold.
Kids get golden tokens for following our 4 Bs of be safe, be kind, be helpful, and be the best you. And this is our PBIS initiative that we're doing, and really focusing on building wide expectations, but also creating a love of literacy. Does anybody in our building have 3 tokens to give out until the end of the year? We just started 2 days ago, and so we've already given out 5, and so we're really excited.
So the students have the ownership in choosing the books, and we have like a great partnership with Junk Drawer that actually provides the books for us.
And so the students get, you know, it's not something like you have to read this book, you have to do certain types, like since they have so much ownership in choosing it, that they love getting it and that they get to own like the book.
As soon as it was installed, it was great to see, I mean, every time we walk by, they notice the new book and they're all excited. And, you know, not all of them have an opportunity to bring brand new books home. We have a wonderful library here, but this one they get to keep. And it's wonderful how excited they get for each other because they know how exciting it is to bring a brand new book home.